and then from there they can really have a good informed rotate. Maybe take the Skyward Dive across to wherever they need to be. It sort of depends, I guess, on what their knowledge of this next circle is going to be. Do they know, or do they at least assume they know where things are going to end and they want to sort of make a commitment early, or are they trying to play the long game a little more? So,
yeah, we can see teams starting to congregate around Ski Lift. It looks like that's going to be sort of the center of the action for the first game here. Moist Esports up the top. They seem to like playing these kind of high ground positions. They don't necessarily feel like they need to take buildings. They like to just find a spot between the rocks and use MT's abilities on the Watson there to just carve out that space for themselves with the perimeter fence.
Yeah, Moist Esports, nice early rotate from them. And watching as Daewoo United land inside the zone as well. Here comes the Skyward Dive out from Waltzy. It's been interesting to see Pricey back in this roster for Moist Esports. Obviously, I guess you could make an argument that he was a former member of this roster. He was replaced by Waltzy at one point, and now he's sort of found his way back into the team over Jaro. And it seems to have gone really well for Moist. They really didn't slow things down at all last week. Still copped the second. Haven't actually managed to win a lobby so far, but maybe today is going to be the day for them.
I mean, yeah, look, maybe they haven't won a lobby, but that hasn't stopped them from showing amazing consistency, from still being near the top of the leaderboard and really being one of those three teams that is very much looking to take out the top spots and go to LAN as we get to halfway through the season. So, wow, there's some risky Trident maneuvers going on here as GQ decide the middle of the zone is just a little bit too hot for them, and they'll head a bit further south and park the Trident across the entrance way down there. Not a bad spot, actually, because there's not many people rotating through Jurassic Park this time.
Yeah.
Most people have sort of either made their way in there already, or they're going to be coming down from sort of the more northerly areas. So, yeah, good spot for them so far. 2 M&K, 1 pad, as you can see here with 2 of the new members. Xiaokai, who we have seen in Pro League before, as well as Aimbot was the one remaining member from last week.
And they're up against Stinky B, who are currently down a couple of members. It is down to a 1-on-3. There's a stick actually in there, so maybe this one is doable, or maybe not. T-Mop able to pretty much mop them up. No problems at all. Yeah, obviously you were wondering how things were going to go with that roster change and that shake-up, and was it going to make much of a difference? Were they, going to be the powerhouse that they were last week? Well, I gotta say that's so far a pretty good start. But I'm not sure it tells us a huge amount just yet. Straight up 3v3. Fair enough, it's nice to win. But it has delayed their rotation a little bit, and they are going to be very late into the zone now.
Okay, now Chicken Sandwich. One of our other teams dominating Apac South at the moment. Hannah, Strafing Flame, and Player K. None of these guys have been to LAN yet. I will point that out. So they are all going to be so hungry to get their first overseas experience. And I feel like that in particular is showing with the way that they are playing this season. All 3 of them, it just feels like they've all been locked in and contributing to this team.
Yeah, look, I mean, I agree. They seem to be absolutely cracked at the moment. They have been popping off over this first couple of weeks. Hopefully today is going to sort of continue that kind of trajectory. They have got a couple of members around them, just underneath. Stormcatcher is SRY, like in those tunnels, the stairs that you take up from the cannon. They're a little bit behind now where Chicken Sandwich have ended up, and you can see on your screen as well, EXO is sort of hanging around at the back end of those stairs too. So this will end up being quite a hotly contested area of the map by the looks of things. But with that rotation that Chicken Sandwich have made, just taking the building out to the west of Stormcatcher, you can lock that one down pretty comfortably. A lot of Watson fences. It's not a massive building, so pretty much cover all the entrances with that.
Yeah,
they seem to be comfortable enough.
I mean, the ring they're showing us not a lot actually, because it's going to be hard to tell where this is going from the next one. It'll be interesting to see where it pulls from here. You can see a couple of people playing around that Stormcatcher, but I honestly think that's probably more of a sort of a hedging your bets kind of option. It can pull up there, sort of towards the outers of Stormcatcher, but you don't see it do this time. We do see it go down south, where we actually, I think it might have been in the first week where you were here casting Elfish, where we did see one finish very much on top of the river, and I think it was maybe like Exo or someone who took that one out. So a little bit of a repeat here in Apac South.
Yeah, and you're going to see that again. We were talking about GQ's position a little bit earlier on that fence to Jurassic Park. That suddenly ends up actually being quite a bit more valuable. Obviously, they don't have the information as to where this zone is going to be going. They're nowhere near a beacon, so they can't get that. But if they just stay put, they're actually going to end up being pretty much on the bottom edge of the circle. And on an edge of the circle that's actually really not super hotly contested, which is always going to be quite interesting.
So one of our only teams that we have seen not choose Valkyrie so far, as a little tidbit there. So Team Op going for the Horizon Seer Crypto composition, which is a bit of fun. Obviously, you know, they're a team that, well, if they're playing the same as the old roster used to play, that is Elfish, they're a team that wants to fight, right? So they don't even really care that much about the Valk ulting. You know, they're happy to fight for every single position they want to take, and just don't value that rotating option whatsoever.
Well, I think just to reinforce your point, I'll tell you for the moment right now, these guys are actually chasing Good Riddance. So I am kind of watching from the perspective of Good Riddance, who are about 5 seconds ahead. I don't even know.
I don't think they know they're there.
That Team Op is right there behind them.
Because I'm cycling through their views here, and they're not pinging behind them. They're not looking behind them. They are just focused straight ahead. And if they catch up just a little bit, like if there's a bit of hesitation, we just saw them open a couple of bins, loot a little bit. If that happens again, you know, these guys definitely could get a lineup and just get a 3-2-1 and be one of the guys. There we go. They go out in the open, and that's it. Weighs down.
Yeah, Don down to half HP as well here. So it's really only Jaro that's going to be the line of defense for Good Riddance at the moment. And unfortunately, as far as defenses is concerned, I think Good Riddance are a little bit more interested in just booking it and running away. The issue I'll tell you now is going to be that they're going to run into Truth Esports on the other side. So Good Riddance, they're basically in a bit of a sandwich. Somehow, they've gone past Truth like ships in the night. Truth have just walked completely past them. They're looking for that fight. They heard those shots, and I think now they have actually ended up being spotted. But this is going to put Truth in the middle of the sandwich now as well. They have to be aware of Team Op coming in behind them. Like maybe Team Op don't really want to commit super hard to this fight. They have actually lost Yao Kai, which is going to give Truth a bit of breathing room.
Well, you can see they're lucky enough to have the golden knockdown shield. Of course, that has the extra res health on it that the backpack used to. And I guess one thing, you know, we should quickly just go over Elfish is that we're now on the Season 15 patch as well. The first 2 weeks of this weren't played on.
Yeah, true. Obviously, something that we probably have to discuss at some point on the broadcast. How that's going to sort of affect things. In the end, it is actually going to end up being Truth Esports that will go down in all of those shenanigans. So it was Team Op chasing Good Riddance, who were getting chased by Truth Esports, and inevitably it's Truth Esports, the third team to come into that engagement, the third party actually, that kind of copped the brunt of it. So a little bit of a misplay maybe there from Truth, as they did put themselves in the middle of that sandwich. And look, I got to say, from what we've seen so far from Team Op, even though the roster changes have come through, they have ripped through a couple of teams, and they're still looking scary. Yeah,
still playing that same old style that we know and love. So yeah, look, it's good to see that there's a bit of depth there in the Chinese talent pool with picking up those 2 extra players. Can they rise to the same heights? I mean, that is a really big question to ask here, because I mean, gosh, it's genuinely very hard to get to the levels that we saw last week. I've only seen that, I would say, out of 2 or 3 teams ever in Apac South, and that was probably Wolfpack Alpha and then Dreamfire at times as well.
All right, well, we do need to touch on as well. Obviously, in that meanwhile, the zone has shifted. As we saw, it was going to go hard south. It has gone down there, and that has prompted a lot of rotations from a bunch of teams. Good Riddance is down to just Jaro. Maybe he can get Don back up, but he's currently being chased still by Team Op. These guys are not giving up at all. Jaro may inevitably go down. does still try to escape, and he's obviously being chased now by a couple of teams. There's a few sort of hanging around in this area of the map. He needs to be very careful about where he does
Team
end
Up
up.
is still on the back of him. They're still looking to finish off what they started.
505 know where he is now as well. That's their drone.
Yep, a couple of people there. I mean, honestly, it really comes down to game sense, right? I mean, as I said, we were watching their POVs, and they literally weren't looking around at all. They were only looking forward, and you just can't afford to do that in a lobby like this. You need to be constantly aware on a 360 degree basis in a battle royale. Like, I mean, there can be people coming at you from any direction.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm not sure that they would have necessarily expected someone to be walking behind them outside of the ring like that, but yeah, when you've got to be aware of these kinds of things, unfortunately, sometimes it can bite you in the back a little bit if you're not. So, even if it's maybe not the most expected play, maybe you're not expecting to see a team punch, it still can be possible. And so 505 now are under much the same pressure as they perhaps the third team that is going to fall to the hands of Team Up, who once again have just run through another team with absolutely no problems at all.
So if we look at the amount of kills that these teams have been racking up so far, oh no, they've changed it. Okay, they've changed the interface that I would usually use to look at that. So I'm not sure how many kills they're on currently, but I guess we'll find out. Actually, no, I can scroll through them. They're on 10 kills already. That's a bunch. That is a lot. And when we've got 14 squads left in the lobby.
Well, they've killed 3 teams, and I think they must have picked up one of the kills on Gyro's team. So, good riddance that was in that engagement against Truth as well. So, yeah, look, it's been a bit of a run from them. I'm not sure if they're going to continue this kind of fashion, or if things are going to start to slow down a little bit for them. But Emmanuel, they're trying to make their way in against VQ. This was the position we talked about on the back end of Jurassic Park. Going to have to continue to take that fight. A float. Let's go low. Trying to reset and get some bats off, but VQ trying to hold strong. They've got those Watson fences up. It's making it a little more difficult for Emmanuel to push around on the left side. They're going to have to go right around the tree. It is a 1-for-1 trade so far. Emmanuel really struggling. There's a third party starting to come through as well. So Golden Sage will go down, but I don't know that this is going to be exactly what Emmanuel wanted from the situation, as they are collapsed upon by Chicken Sandwich, and they will pick up the lion's share of that loot in the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, even in that first week, I was getting glimpses of the Emmanuel that I was hoping would come out and we'd sort of seen in the off season. But in weeks 2 and 3, we're not seeing that level from them, and I'm a little bit worried that they're not going to be playing out to their full potential here in Split 1.
Yeah, look, it was a very nice third party from Chicken Sandwich. I'll give them that. They've pretty much cleared out their entire side of the zone down toward the south there, but we'll hold that thought for the moment. We do need to turn our attention towards MDY and Northside Esport, who have gone head-to-head once again inside of this rocky outcrop, where we saw one of those matches finishing in, I think, game 1, actually, of the season, which was the one the Valiant won. Northside was in this position again, so it does seem like one of those positions that they like to find themselves in on rotations around this area of the map. Hopefully, they're going to be quite familiar with how to play around that. Hopefully, they're also not going to be third-partied by EXO, which is down to just one member. Killerpod's the only one standing, but he is kind of overwatching this engagement, hoping for an opportunity. It doesn't look like anything much is going to come from it, though.
They are looking okay on the south side of the zone here, though. They've got a little bit of space to themselves, as you can see, Elfish. Above them, we've got Northside Esports, who have just survived an engagement of their own. And as you can see with that circle, it's not going to finish exactly where the last river circle finished. It's actually a little bit below that. And that means Chicken Sandwich have basically just pulled out pocket aces. They are looking fantastic in that southern spot. No one can contest them from there. They've got a wall to their backs, and other teams like Boogie Boarders right now are in a much tougher fight for their life.
Yeah, it's only 2/3 of Boogie Boarders, unfortunately, because Raki has gone down. They did manage to clear out Team Op eventually. But they've still got a big run to make, and they're going to have to go through MDY while also copping shots from Moist on the cross. I can't imagine this is going to go well for them with the zone at their backs. Those Valk missiles don't actually connect onto Shadi, but it looks like Fussy has eaten a couple of them. Shadi going to go for the armor swap here just to try to survive for as long as possible, and maybe does have a brief little window of respite here. Can actually use those death boxes as a little bit of cover as well, maybe. And I wonder, is there a world where Fussy gets picked back up here? It looks like Fussy's done a bit of scouting there and said, yeah, maybe you can actually risk the res. Missiles can come through, but not a huge concern unless they're getting pushed. And as far as I can see, Moist is headed in a different direction. They're not super keen on pushing that.
Pricey keeps pushing out west, trying to have a look to see if he can get the shots on them, but he's not going to fully commit because they're too worried about MDY on their east as well. You know, they don't want to press the issue in case perhaps one of them goes down and they get taken advantage of by that, or by Dewa, who are set up now inside the circle. So a lot of these Watson teams are left, and you're gonna see these teams, you know, trying to come through here. Grenades are less effective. You know, the missile swarms are gonna get eaten up by those pylons as well. If they've got those pylons set up, you can just hear one, I think, getting taken down somewhere. So, you know, teams are definitely prioritizing that to try and take that advantage, and the shield regens are away from that as well.
Look, what I will say is, just based on looking at the map right now, I think this might end up being a chicken sandwich game to start the lobby off again. They've really carved out their area of the zone. They're the only team on the southern side. They've got massive room to work with, and every other team is basically fighting for control over this river. Moist, you know, they're on the north side. You've got Boogie Borders, which is Fussy and Shadi as well. We've sort of touched on them, and they were United and MDY are the two teams that are kind of playing gatekeeper now for the two aforementioned, which, like, I mean, it's nice, I guess, because you can pick up a couple of kill points potentially, but if an engagement does break out in this area of the map, it's going to be a four-way engagement. Boogie Borders down. You've got three teams here, and then once that engagement does start, Chicken Sandwich is just going to walk over and say, yeah, let's have a little bit of a fun here and fire a couple of cross shots off and see what happens. Moist Esports now just down to empty. He'll be finished off quite quickly. That's at the hands of Dewa United and MDY, who now will go head-to-head once again. Popping all those ultis in.
Oh, Dewa have taken a casualty there as MDY try and push up on them. They're looking fantastic. Chicken Sandwich, who we mentioned earlier, haven't even really had to fully commit yet because they have got so much space for themselves at the back of the zone. MDY now looking to push, and Chicken Sandwich know that this is their time to cement first place. They'll go for the final 3v3.
They've just got a massive missile swarm on top of MDY from the Valkyrie queue, so all of a sudden MDY do go low. They have to pop a couple of bats, try to reset themselves. It seems they've been able to do that, and Strafing Flame takes a 1v1 against Yuling, loses that one. Yuling does get traded back on down, but it is back to 2 on 2, and you can see these Chicken Sandwich members so low, it doesn't matter. They walk away with the win once again, and I mean, I think you could see that really coming, couldn't you, from probably a good 5-10 minutes ago. Chicken Sandwich, once they cleared out